Hello, my name is Mike Ryder. I am a solutions architect here at N2WS, and here I'm going to be showing you how to configure a worker instance. So just to elaborate, a worker is an instance that the CPM server spins up automatically when it does one of two things. It's archiving into S3. So if you are having your backups archiving into an S3 bucket, for long tier storage. Um, that's one reason. And the other one is file level recovery. So when if somebody accidentally deletes something and you just need to access file level recovery, a worker instance essentially spins up and you're able to recover that without having to rehydrate and recover an entire instance or volume. And it's very, very easy to do. So you're going to go down to worker configuration here. And the first thing you're going to do is just obviously workers configuration. So you're going to go to new and then AWS worker. So you're going to select which user, and it could be, a different user. It doesn't matter. Which account that you want the worker instance to deploy into. So in my case, it's going to be the root account, and then which region. So I'm going to, my default is North Virginia. So now to go on this a little bit, if you have an S3 bucket, or if you're trying to access file level recovery and backups that are cross region or cross account, then you would select a different account and in a different region. So wherever those backups live or that S3 bucket lives, you need to make sure that you have a worker in every single one of those areas, right? So it does not necessarily have to be cross account, but if say you're doing multiple regions, you want one in North Virginia, and then my DR region is in Oregon, so I want one in Oregon as well, just in case I have to access that. So wherever that data lives, you want to make sure that you have a worker configured there. So, but for here, I'm just going to keep my root account, and North Virginia is my default. I key pair, so you don't necessarily have to do a key pair, but you can select one just in case if any sort of troubleshooting and you need to um, SSH into the worker instance for any reason. So it's always good to to use a key pair. Just for this, I'm not going to use one. And then what VPC you want to deploy this in. So this is important, right? So this is going to be my default, and that's fine. And then security group. So when we select any of these, we want to make sure that there's two ports that we need to make sure that are open. 443 for HTTPS and 22 for SSH. Those are the only two that we need, right? So we want to make sure whatever VPC that we have is going to be able, and the same thing with subnet especially, right? So I don't have anything configured. We want to make sure that the instance is going to be able to reach out and get in touch with AWS specifically through 443. But then the same thing, we need to make sure that 22 is available as well, because that's how they connect with each other. The worker instance and the CPM server. So I'm going to select a security group. I have a CPM, so that has my 443 and 22. And subnet, for me, it doesn't really matter, but again, it might for you. So you want to make sure that that server or that worker instance is going to be able to reach out and talk to AWS. So specifically S3 and the EBS endpoints. Worker role. So this is up to you. Certain organizations require a role to be attached to every instance that's ever deployed, and that's fine. But I mean, typically, no role will be sufficient, because if you select no role, it will automatically assign all the necessary permissions that the worker needs to use in order to perform its job. And then network access typically is going to be direct, but if you are using a proxy, You can you just need to enter your proxy information. That's pretty rare, but typically I'm going to keep it on direct, right? So I'm going to go down and save this and done. Right. So it's in North Virginia. It's on this VPC, this security group, and it doesn't matter what subnet for me, it might for you, but I'm going to now another option is the worker tags. So there are certain organizations that are mandatory tags, or else the instance might get immediately terminated. So here is where you can submit, and enter any kind of necessary tags that you need so that the worker instance isn't going to get immediately terminated. And I'm just going to undo that and just to show you. Right. So we'll go back to worker configuration and we're done here, right? So now, just to make sure that this is going to work, we can run a test. So we're going to select this worker and then come up here to this test option. So we're going to click this. So here's everything that it needs to test, right? SSH, EBS, S3, and then so we're just going to run test. So you'll see test is underway. So now you'll see that this test status is viable. So we can click on this, and this typically takes a few minutes. So I am going to pause this recording and I will come back when it's complete. Okay, so here is our test. And you can see everything was successful. So the connectivity to the worker was from the CPM instance was okay. The SSH, good to go. And EBS and S3 were both successful. So now if you ever see these two fail, typically it's because it's either the security group that's blocking it, because what these two endpoints need to do is be able to reach out and talk to AWS and have AWS talk back to it, right? So typically when you see these two fail, it's either because of the security group might be blocking, traffic, or a lot of the times I see it's maybe the subnet that's not allowing it to reach out. So we have knowledge base articles that can go over that kind of thing, but this is what you want to see, right? And that's it. So even if I can go over here and I'll see that worker instance right here, right? It's already terminated, right? Because the test is over, so it automatically terminates itself. So as soon as that job is over, as soon as it starts, it deploys it. As soon as it's done, it terminates it, and you don't have to worry about anything like that. So that's it. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you in the next video.